This show has always been about America and just old school common sense. It's not about left or right. He called a lid at 10 a.m. today. It's more about right or wrong. It's about cutting through the noise and finding the truth.
It's uncomfortable talking about all of this stuff.
Finding things we have in common, not what divides us. It's about we the people. We do news. We do sports. We do entertainment. And we have a damn good time in the process. I'm Drew Berquist. This is my show, and we're glad to be spending some time with you on this great day. Hopefully it's great wherever you are, whatever you've got going on. Plenty to cover. We got Tom, who's not with us in studio today, but looking great and dapper in his hat. Disco, of course, here. Tom, I got to ask, though, how you did you go last night? Tell us about your experience at Monday Night Raw.
I did go. It was pretty good. It had a great time. I hadn't been to a wrestling event in, I don't know, 20, 25 years. The crowd seems to be a little bit different from what I remember. But, there were some good matches, and then, there were some other ones that were just kind of like, but the main event was really good between McIntyre and I can't remember the other guy. Finn
Balor, yeah.
Yeah.
How about the Lyra Valkyria and Io Sky match? Was that good in person?
It was. That was good too. Also, Ludwig was staying at our hotel.
Oh, was he?
Nice.
Ludwig Kaiser. The ring. People who don't watch any wrestling are like, what are they even talking about? Anyways, Tom was there. I'm glad you got there. We were looking for you on the television last night. We didn't see you, but it was fun knowing you were there, going back and forth between that and the hockey game, which we'll get into. We got lots of stuff. We're going to get into the Hunter Biden news today. We've got some Joe Biden news today, separate from his drug-addled son. We've got some not surprising, but some updates on Afghanistan. If we have time, we'll get into this sub and some Russia stuff that's going on. The Ukraine war basically has come to us. We've got another Caitlin little thing. We've got all sorts of stuff that we're going to get to today. So hang in there with us. Before we do, though, guys, I hope you understand, and I think you do if you've been around a long time, that we have sponsors on this show. It's an important part of what makes all of this happen. I think we've got probably one of the best studios in all of conservative media, one of the best there is, but it takes great partners. It takes great people helping us out, believing in the product and all of that. And one of those great partners that I hope that you support, and I hope that when you do this, by the way, it's not supporting them, it's supporting you, which is the great part about this, is Genesis Gold Group. If you talk to them, they're going to guide you through protecting your savings, retirement, regular old savings, IRA, whatever the case might be, and syncing it in with a company that is a faith-driven company, focused on biblical values, and focused on protecting your investment in gold and silver. Something that's been done since the beginning of time. It's mentioned in every book of the Bible, and that's one of the reasons we partner with them, because of the values that these guys share there. But most importantly, they're a great company who cares about their clients, in this case, you. So we hope that you'll go and talk to them. They're very different than all the other ones you hear about. There's plenty of gold companies out there, I get it. But they share these bogus gimmicks with you. They share all sorts of reasons why you should do it, and then they browbeat the piss out of you and make you feel bad about doing things. That's not how Genesis Gold Group works. They listen to you, learn about your situation, educate you, and then make decisions based on what's going to be best for you. Quite a novel concept, I know. So head on over, go to goldwithdrew.com, fill out the form. They will get in touch with you. It costs nothing to do this. It just starts a conversation. Again, it's goldwithdrew.com. If there's a group out there that you want to look into and you're thinking of doing this, you've done it before, or you're thinking of doing it for the first time, this is the way to do it. Trust me. Genesis Gold Group. Go to goldwithdrew.com. All right. So I want to hit on some sports stuff first real quick. if you'll just bear with me. Last night, Tom, enjoying WWE Raw. Again, we watched it. We're a wrestling family. I don't care what people say about it. We think it's fun. Is it a soap opera for men and really now women? Yes. But I love the crap out of it. But there was also game 2 of the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs last night. The finals were happening. You had the Edmonton Oilers, who were in town, playing the the Florida Panthers in Miami. And it started off one way. And we'll breeze through this because I know not everyone cares about it, but we do, so we're going to talk about it. Started off 1-0 Edmonton, who were down 1-0 in the series, right? Florida wins the first game. You know, Edmonton would like to have brought it back to Canada, tied 1-1. Didn't happen that way. They started off 1-0, ended up losing 4-1. I mean, the Panthers just rallied, and they had some players who kind of stepped up. You had Nico Mikula and you had Evan Rodriguez, who Rodriguez has been hot in the playoffs, by the way. But you had some guys who have been great, but not necessarily the stars who stepped up and did the scoring. And the Oilers just got shut down. I mean, the Panthers' defense was suffocating. They couldn't do anything, and that was a huge thing. Obviously, Bobrovsky in goal, the dude's just an animal.
He's an animal. But
across the board, defensively, I mean, the Panthers just shut him down. Tom, I'm sure didn't get to see it because you were at Raw, but it was an impressive performance by the Panthers.
Yeah, I caught some of the highlights, and I think it's really fitting that the guy in the Stanley Cup Finals, the hockey player from Florida, his last name is Rodriguez. I mean, if I was writing a script, people would be like, nah, we can't have that. He's Canadian. You know, nobody in Canada's named Rodriguez, but it is true. He is from Canada. He is a Canadian. But to me, it's just very fitting. And Florida just looks unstoppable at this point. They look like they're, the last half of the third period, it was just like, they just turned on the gas and it was just like, you know what, you think you're in this game, you're not.
Right.
Usually it's one or two skaters per team that have that drive that I don't care if there's 5 people in front of me, I'm going to weave between them and I'm going to put the puck in the net. That's what's going to happen.
Right.
And it seems like it's team-wide, offense, defense, goalie. It's when they are ratcheting up, everyone's ratcheting up, and they can't be stopped.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It is. Well, and again, Connor McDavid, some of the studs on the Edmonton side have just been shut down. Like, they just haven't been able to do what they typically do, which has been crazy. What's going to be interesting, though, now is you head back to Edmonton. The Edmonton crowd is rowdy. Mm-hmm. So you've got 2 games there, and you've got Barkov from Florida, who's, I don't know, I haven't heard anything this afternoon. Maybe it's been declared since, but left the game injured, and he's a stud. So you don't want to see him not playing. And there is bias here. I want the Florida Panthers to win this damn thing, win their first ever Stanley Cup in franchise history. But you might be down a key player, so it'll be interesting to see.
Well, and also I'd say in the favor of Edmonton, they get a 2-day travel rest before the next game. It's the longest distance traveled between teams ever in NHL like Stanley Cup history.
Yeah.
So they have to have 2 days because of how long it's going to take to travel. So I think Edmonton's going to come out hot.
Yeah.
Because we just got curb stomped for 2 games in a row. We need to step it up. Let's rest it. And now we're on our home ice. We gotta make it happen.
Yeah. No, so. They do. And I hope they do. Look, I want the Panthers to win it, but I want it to be a series.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want this thing to be done in 4 games. I don't want it to be done in 5 games. I like everyone else, I love drama. Let's get to 6 or 7 here, baby. Let's do it. So it'll be interesting to see, but great job for the Panthers last night. Let's take a total. Go ahead.
Drew, have you heard this story? It's a sports-related story, and it's just breaking now. Joey Chestnut will not be participating in the Nathan's hot dog eating contest.
I saw that right before we came on, and the RVM News kind of internal chatter. Now that we're running RVM News, it's a news site. You should check it out. RVMnews.com. News, sports, entertainment, all sorts of stuff, lifestyle, you name it. Very, very different property, but it's a one-stop property. You can get all the news you need there. But there's an article coming out, and the debate internally was, well, do we put this in sports or entertainment? Like, where does this go? Quick sidebar question. Is that a sport, Tom, or is that an entertainment article?
Competitive eating is a sport.
Okay.
The training they do is incredible. I watched a documentary on one of the the holders for it for a while, and just watching him how he eats. He just has to consume a certain amount of calories and a certain amount of food every single meal, every single day. It's like I would get tired of eating.
Yeah,
I love eating.
It's supposed to be really fun. All of a sudden becomes a have to.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I did see that story, Tom. I'm pointing to you as if you're here in your seat. I'm just gonna keep talking to you.
No, we've turned his camera so I can't even show it.
Totally opens up the field now to who's going to win the mustard belt this year.
Yeah, no, 100%. It absolutely does, because the dude's a stud. I mean, the dude can. I mean, yeah. Okay, let's transition. I was going to talk about something that, well, I'll still tell you, but I was going to talk about something, and then the decision came down in the Hunter Biden trial today. So it kind of changes things a little bit. But you had Dershowitz this week, who everyone knows, like him, don't care. That's not the point of the conversation. But you had Dershowitz, who is a mostly well-respected attorney, commenting on the fact that what would be best for Trump, Team Trump, this country, supporters, etc., would be if Hunter Biden was acquitted and just got off scot-free, right? Because obviously it then can be used as a talking point, which we already have. Not just Trump supporters, America has. But it could be used as a talking point that, hey, we're in a bad situation here. We've got a system that doesn't work. It's very one-sided. As we know, we're not going to beat that dead horse. But you have that situation, and he makes that comment, and I agree with him. Because, well, you want him to be guilty. You also know that if it went the way that it ended up actually going today, that they can twist the words around, twist the truth around, and make it all work out. And then you fast forward to today, and Hunter found guilty. And some people out there are like, this is great. But is it? I mean, let's think about this. Let's talk about it, because Hunter Biden should be found guilty. He should have been found guilty a long time ago, and not just for this particular. He's guilty on a lot of fronts. Their whole damn family is. But you're found guilty, and we're heading into an election, and you have to always look at things through the lens of the uniparty and how DC does things. And what they're going to do, they're going to flip it around. Let's take a step back and leave this particular issue even for a second and talk about the border. Biden's making these new border policies. We're only going to let 2,500 people in a day that are not supposed to be here, which is, of course, categorically absurd, but makes it seem as though he actually cares about our national security, our border, this, that, and the other. Rest assured he doesn't. There's been upwards of 13 million illegal immigrants who have come through. But you have that, which is a talking point for the election. And then you have this. And it's not a win, folks. What this is the Democrats being able to say, see, there's no two tiers of justice. There's not a separate system. It's Hunter Biden was just found guilty. Now, he's not gonna pay the piper. I don't see him doing any time behind bars. Precedent says that he would, but there's also some precedent that says that, you know, maybe if he lives up to this and agrees with this probation rule and that he won't. But as backwards as it might sound, I see today as a loss. I see today as now they're going to convince some dumb, dim-witted people out there that everything actually is, in fact, okay. And that's the play that I think they're going to go with.
I think you're right. I mean, one of the things that I don't like about this case is the fact that I think it's unconstitutional that any American has to fill out paperwork to purchase a gun. So setting that aside, I hate that part of it, but it's a part that we have in our lives now. Hunter being found guilty goes back to, see, nobody's above the law. The law, Biden, it's his own son. He could have interfered, and, justice is justice. It's a bunch of BS. I think what you're going to see now is you're going to see Marshan and his sentencing of Trump go hard to the hoop, whether it be, jail time or house arrest. It's going to be hard to the hoop. They're going to ratchet it up. with Hunter, I think he's going to get, a pretty, if he goes to jail, it'll be something federal, something pretty cushy, for 3 months or something, 4 months. It won't be that bad. But this whole thing is just, this whole Hunter Biden gun case is just it's meaningless compared to the rest of the other crimes that he committed that the statute of limitations ran out on.
Right.
Whether it's the IRS or the FARA, he's again getting away with it and just taking the lesser of the least egregious crime that he committed.
Yeah. No, I think so too. And Tex agrees in the chat over on Rumble. Now they can throw the book at Trump on July 11th. I think so too. I mean, it's and what's the most disappointing part of it to me is, which is typically the case with me, as you guys always know, is how are the people, how are the masses going to respond to this ruling or this news, both in this case, and that's what's frustrating. Like take the, I mean, you can't take the case out of it, but take it out for a second, and it's how is the person that you're in traffic next to going to see this, or maybe your family member at the dinner table, and it's frustrating to me just how ill-prepared and unaware so many people are of what's going on around them and how this game is being played, and that's where that's where the disappointment sets in for me, and it's frustrating that this is where we are on so many levels in the country. Obviously, that we could talk about 700, maybe more, things that drive us crazy and show what a bad state we're in. But you see these things come out, and it could be anything. It could be the Trump decision from a little last week. It could be this one. It could be anything else that comes. And I'm really less concerned. And to be clear, I'm still very concerned about the decision, but I'm less concerned about the decision and more concerned about how the American populace interprets the decision. And that's where we're failing. Because if we were a smarter populace, paid more attention, loved our country more, we wouldn't be in the situation that we're in now. We wouldn't be facing all of these decisions and the many, many ramifications that come with them. But that's where we are. And that's what always gets me is, God, like we did this to ourselves. We got here. We were asleep at the wheel for so long. So many still are. And look where it's gotten us. We're on the freaking doorstep of communism. And it didn't have to be that way. All right. Do we have Tom still?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, I'm
okay.
here.
All right.
Yes, we are on the doorstep of communism, and the gas pedal is being pushed harder and harder. And for a lot of people who are celebrating this, conviction of Hunter Biden, it's meaningless. It's the deep state's way of saying, oh yeah, here's a win, and you can. It's not a time to celebrate because it doesn't mean anything. Do we really think that the justice system is just when you're dealing with people who are part of the ruling class? No, this is just a show. This is another show trial, but this time, he's found guilty to have this false pretense that the legal system does work, and it doesn't. This is all part of the charade that's going on.
Yeah. No, 100%. 100%. The charade that's going on with the other bigger charade that's going on, which is that Joe Biden's president and pulling the strings. Clearly he's not. We've got some Joe Biden stuff that we just have to touch on because we've got at least two clips that we're going to show. We showed some yesterday. It's Tuesday, so another day has gone by, and he's given us more because he's just a disaster of a person. He was speaking, so there's this big Juneteenth event that happened at the White House. And you've got the administration there, their guests and music and all this kind of stuff going on. And Joe gives a speech, and we've all seen this by now probably, and we've all made fun of it or mocked it or laughed at it or felt awful about where we are as a country because of it. But honestly, I will give a sizable donation to anyone who can translate what he says here.
She knows so long as she was denied, our freedom can never be secured.
Let's do that again. It's just, I mean, I think we just got to do it again.
That was hard to hear.
She knows so long as she was denied, our freedom can never be secured. She knows so long as she was denied, our freedom can never be secured.
I got nothing. I heard she in there. Everything else was mumbo jumbo.
She knows so long as she was denied, our freedom can never be secured.
I can't even figure out what he's talking about.
It sounds, I don't know the context of this, but it sounds like he was telling a story about a specific person being a female, because he uses she in there at some point. And something that happened a long time ago that she, whoever this mythological person is, she was confronted with something and was denied something, but she knew that the country was a lot better than what it was at that time, is what it sounds like to me.
Maybe so.
I mean, that sounds more of a plausible thing than what.
She knows so long as she was denied, our freedom can never be secured.
I wish Biden would have somebody, Biden's like Chewbacca. I wish there was a Han Solo that was standing there who would just, say what he was saying.
By the way, speaking of Han Solo and Chewbacca, we had an article in RVM News yesterday. Yesterday about I can't think of the guy's name now. But a dude who came out and said that he took Carrie Fisher's virginity back in the day.
Really?
Interesting little read. I guess they were like roommates, both trying to get their careers going. Obviously, hers went really well.
Yeah.
Interesting little side story. Not going to get into it now.
One of the first advice that she gave to Daisy, who played Ray was don't sleep your way through the crew.
Yeah, because she ended up having an affair with Han Solo with Harrison during.
Yeah, but then she also according to that advice, she did everyone in the crew.
She was a promiscuous gal. God rest her soul. She died 8 years ago. I think it was 8 years ago. But anyways, let's continue with Biden, breaking from Princess Leia news and back to Joe Biden. If that wasn't bad enough, you've maybe seen this clip too. But so I don't remember what was first, because I didn't watch this event, because I have a life and I value my time with my family and don't watch Joe Biden do that much stuff. But during the event, Joe Biden's brain just shuts off. The music's playing. I don't know if this was when Kirk Franklin was playing or later, because Kirk dragged Kamala up there and things got a little slutty at one point. But just look at Joe Biden. He doesn't say or do anything. Like, he literally doesn't do anything. He just freezes in time, maybe dies for a second here. Take a look at this clip.
His face is great.
I mean, if that guy doesn't say something to him and force a fist bump out of him at some point, the latter, the 3/4 mark there in that clip, you don't know what's going on with him.
No. He looks like his animatronic dummy at Hall of Presidents.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at his hands and his arms. They're just not moving until it just sort of like robotically raises up.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a dude in a sequins dress over there?
I was gonna say, so now we've talked about Joe Biden. Now I want to skip down past Kamala and Dougie Boy there, and pay attention to the male in a sequin dress that is really into it. Definitely moving a lot more alive and with it than Joe Biden.
Everyone is moving a lot more.
Well, that's a fair point.
Even the Secret Service guy there on the far right is at least moving more than Joe Biden.
Kind of like, can I get into this? Yeah, I want to shake my, yeah. But that character on the end, I don't know who that is. I don't know if I'm supposed to know who that is. I don't know. But that's a perfect picture right there of the Biden-Harris administration. Big event, all sorts of humanity there, and also Joe looks like he's dying during it.
Well, it's like, you know what? Usually he's the one who approves these types of events. He's not really there. Let's just tell him, hey, show up to this event. We're going to invite the artists and the people we want to be there. Just as long as he's there, it's fine.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Yeah.
He's probably thinking, why am I here? Can I sit down?
Where am I?
Where am I? Yeah. Is there any ice cream? I would really like some ice cream.
I mean, if we're being honest, I would love ice cream right now. I might get some on the way home. Because my youngest daughter asks every night after dinner, I mean, just to show how spoiled they are, what ice cream do we have? I'm like, come on, stop it. We've got 6 different flavors. Here are your choices. But we've had none this week, and we got to fix that. But yeah, no, it's such a bad look. Again, and there's lots of people. We talked yesterday, the question of the day was, do you think he will be on the ballot still? Do you think in August they keep him on, or do they swap him out? And conventional wisdom would say they got to swap him out. We gave our reasons as to why they won't yesterday, but man, it's not, as Barb said, he didn't even really blink. Like it was just like everything shut off. Everything just turned off, and then there was like a slight reboot. You know when like you're rebooting and you're like, oh, I think it's going to turn back on, and then it gives you another screen and goes back down. That's what happened. Like the guy gave him a fist bump. He was like, I think I brought him back to life. And then he went right back to being turned off.
Well, it's like he noticed, oh, he's confused as to what's going on right now. Let me just say something to him, hopefully get him engaged, and then, okay, yeah, fist bump. But still, even at the fist bump, it was like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. He didn't. It wasn't good. Well, go ahead, Tommy.
Who else looked out of place was Doug Emhoff. He looked like he oozes just I'm a beta bitch, and him just trying to like dance a little bit and and then keeps looking over at Carmella. I don't.
Carmella. Well, at one point they're like doing some finger things to each other, like finger dancing.
Oh no, I think it was like the moves that they're doing on stage.
Right,
Yeah.
It's like, no, Doug, don't do that. Like you're an older white man. Like you need to know your limitations. This is not. I'm going to a wedding in a couple weeks. I know the things that I won't be doing there. At least to start the night.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I also don't know the things that I will be doing because you just don't know. But you know your limitations. Your name's Doug Emhoff. You're a very average white beta male bitch. You should not move your hips. You shouldn't do any of that stuff. I don't know who's worse, like Joe Biden having a stroke there or Doug being Doug. And Cam.
I mean, Biden's got the dementia excuse. Doug is just, a lame old white Jewish dude. You know?
Well, no surprise that not related to this, but also related to this, Joe Biden's poll numbers are down. You don't say. You don't say. With less than 5 months to go to the election, his approval rating, the one that everyone's talking about and that's being put out there, I think it's lower than this. And I know you guys are going to say this in the chat. It's lower than that. I'm just reporting the news here. Just reporting what other people who pretend to be news people or pollsters reported. They say it's at a low of 37.4%, which is lower than his previous low of 37.9%. But it goes back to our question yesterday, and we don't need to rehash all of it. But you know it's lower than that. And that is a catastrophically low figure. And look, to be clear, you also know that incumbents tend to kind of be down at this point. Goes along with the Joe Rogan clip we showed yesterday. People get sick and they want change. Oh, there's a Republican there, like, we need new blood. There's a Democrat there, we need new blood. But it's not good for Joe. I mean, Jeff Daniels, who I adore as an actor, great actor. Not because of Dumb and Dumber, obviously not his best acting, but like he's done some amazing roles. Comes out a couple weeks ago. We were on break. It was before we came back, which again I apologize for. But he goes on and is talking about how he's the right guy. He's been great, and this, that, and there. It's like, what? You're in the minority. There are people who do think that. The most of us, left, right, or center, are like, we can't do this anymore, right? Like, we all agree on this. Like, this guy's done. Like, literally, probably going to be done soon. But there's some out there who, and maybe he's just sharing a Hollywood talking point, but he seems like a convicted person. There's some people out there who are like, this has been a really good
John Leguizamo
4-year run for us.
He loves Biden and Harris. Can't get enough of them. Best president, vice president. Like, if you don't follow him, but if you go and look at his social media, John Leguizamo every day is posting something about how greatest American in all of history, president of all American history, all this stuff. You're going,
he hasn't even been here for it.
What?
Yeah.
How?
Wow.
Well, they're all saying that, especially the actors and other members of the enemy class, because they know, Obama's in charge. And Joe Biden is just, being propped up there. He's not making any decisions. Those guys are smart enough to know what's going on. And I think a lot of Democrats, too, know that Biden's not in charge, that, that he's just a puppet and the strings are being pulled elsewhere, and they're fine with it.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think you're right. Great stuff going on in the chat. Great stuff going on in the chat. Let's get to our question of the day. Which is this. Someone actually brought it up earlier in the chat. I don't know who it was. I apologize. But the Olympics are upon us. Mm-hmm. They're coming next month.
John Williams, by the way.
End of the month. Yeah, John Williams. We were talking about some great composers today. But Olympics coming up. The question is this, because it's in there this year. Mm-hmm. Should breakdancing be a part of the Olympics? I want a simple yes or no.
Oh, I have a good answer.
Because they call it breaking.
Oh, God.
It lessens the blow if you call it breaking, not break dancing. So that's what scholars say. So breaking is now in the Olympics. Do you think it should be? Again, I repeat, do you think breakdancing should be in the Olympics? Send in your questions or your responses, to the question. We'll get to our responses as well here in a second. As you're sending in your responses, please do yourself a favor and head on over to preparewithbeef.com. You say, why? I say, because, one, I told you to, and I thought we all just were close, we're friends. But because it's smart to be prepared, guys. You need to be prepared. That's a consistent message you've heard from this show and a lot of other shows for a long time, and for good reason. There's a lot of uncertainty in this world. We're going to talk about some more of that uncertainty after the question of the day on today's program. So have some stuff to take care of yourself and your loved ones. It could be you. It could be a family of 2. It could be a family of 5. It could be whatever. You need to have food, water. You need to have other supplies on hand. But food is obviously pretty damn important. And if you're going to have food on hand, have food that you actually want to eat. Prepper Beef actually has all-American beef. It's literally freeze-dried steak. If you don't love steak, you're at the wrong program. This is what we talk about: steak and bacon and then some news. That's what we do around
bacon wrapped steak.
Bacon wrapped steak. If you're really having just a a great, sexy day. You've got that glass of Cabernet. They don't have Cabernet at Prepper All Naturals, but they do have all-American steak. You can get it in ribeye, New York strip, filet, you name it. They've got it. You can see filleted sous vide filet mignon on the screen there. It lasts for 25 years. You reconstitute it. It serves many. You can get bundle packs that are a variety of them. You can get all of one kind of cut of beef, whatever you want to get. But the bottom line is you're A, prepared, and you're B, if you have to eat it or if you just choose to eat it. You don't have to wait for an emergency to eat this, by the way. It's because it's actually good steak. But you've got it. You've got it on hand. So go to preparewithbeef.com. You can use promo code RVM. RVM. That's R, V as in Victor, and then M. To get 25% off. So again, preparewithbeef.com, use RVM, can't talk, to get 25% off. Okay. We're going to take a weird segue. We're going to get into some serious stuff that will lead you to wanting and needing to get beef at preparewithbeef.com. But there's a movie that's out right now that I'm excited to see. Some of you guys are going to judge me for wanting to see it. I don't care. You know that about me. I'm going to do my own thing.
But we have to stop because I have to stop you again. This will be...
Damn it! I didn't do it.
We got to get to the answers.
We got to get to the
question of the day.
It's like I'm a rookie here. I inserted question of the day into the show.
I wish I had a dry erase board. I'd be like, question of the day.
Question of the day: should breakdancing be in the Olympics? Because it is. Tom, I'll go with you first.
If it is, ballroom dancing needs to be in as well.
Time out. You don't get a free pass like that. Yes or no? Do you want it in there? Not do you want it in there. Should it be in there?
By all means, no. It's not a sport. It's an activity. There's this weird blending of activities that are masking as sports. I know I referred to competitive eating as a sport, but, it's eating.
Right.
Now that would be a great Olympic sport to watch, though. Competitive eating.
But, if you time it, if something is timed and you count the amount that you consume, if there's counting or timing, it's a sport. To me, if it's objective by judging, it's not a sport. That's my criteria. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me because they're great athletes. Gymnastics.
You shut your mouth. You do not call a breakdancer athlete. I know you're not calling him that. Anyone. But no, I think most people are going to, at least in this audience, people are going to agree with you, Sir Thomas Cunningham. It's been no's throughout. One person asking, texting, twerking can't be far behind. Probably so.
Well, there's probably going to be twerking in the breakdancing.
There probably will be. If it's the right person, fine. But yeah. What's your answer?
Well, to me, no. Like just a yes, no. But it took so long for skateboarding to be brought into the Summer Olympics when that's actually a competitive sport. Half pipe, the street stuff, all that stuff is there. It took forever to get that finalized into it, but now it's like out of nowhere, breakdancing comes in.
Right.
I feel like it's going to be here this year, and then we're not going to see it again for a while. I think. Golf it barely makes it every. What it was in Rio. Remember?
Right.
I don't think it's going to be here in Paris. So I feel like it's, that one is an off on.
The extremists have burned down all the golf facilities in France.
But to me, it's no, it shouldn't be. This is like Tom said, then ballroom dancing, all dancing competition should be in there. Let's get cheerleading in there too. Why not? Let's build, let's build that up to that whole thing. But
right.
Why break dancing? Because I know the small part of the rules to make sure that it gets into the Olympics is that every country has to agree upon it, that it's in there, and therefore it's every country has to have breakdancing leagues and all this other, there's all these formalities that need to be met. But do you think these third world countries in the middle of Africa have breakdancing? I don't think so. I don't know. I'd have to go and do the research, but it just doesn't They do?
I've seen it. Yeah, dude, I have seen teenage boys in Japan with cornrows and Mercedes emblem necklaces or chains popping on like street corners.
No,
it's
no.
the weirdest thing.
Yeah, like Japan, I get that. I'm talking about like the small remote ones in the middle of Africa, like middle of nowhere. Like, yes, they probably have people who breakdance, but do they have the leagues? Do they have the competition there? How do they, if someone's going to represent that country?
Like the country that Hakeem is from and coming to America,
Yeah.
which is a real
But like, you know, how is this getting by when we know that there's people from around the world that skateboard and love to do that? And if they can't do it in their own region, they go somewhere else to compete, but they're from, you know, so I would like to see the logistics of it all to figure out why they decided. I'm actually would be okay with flag football being listed, which is supposed to come next Summer Olympics.
Stop it.
But I'm saying I'd be more okay with that than breakdancing coming in. That's just how I feel about it.
It's all too much too soon.
But you know, I mean, I can't believe we're getting this deep into this. As far as representation in the Olympics go, I can kind of see it, especially with third world countries, because you're talking about a sport now that doesn't require a lot of equipment. You just need a person and a coach
and a cardboard mat.
Yeah, and be able to go through some moves and so forth. So I can kind of see, that aspect of it where it's not, you know, so equipment intense.
Yeah.
And so if I'm on the Olympic committee and wanting representation from different countries, this is a good way to get more people from, you know, third world countries involved in the Olympics. It doesn't require a lot of equipment.
Yeah.
I don't think it should be on the Olympic platform, though. That's just
It shouldn't be. DEI approves
I don't
this.
think
Yeah,
so either.
I agree. No, I'm a hard no on all of these things. I think traditional sports are the way to go. And as soon as you start letting all of this kind of stuff in, it is a very slippery slope, which is what we're experiencing everywhere and in everything on the planet now.
how come like painting hasn't gone into the Olympics?
Give it time. Give it time, my friends.
We're here in the
think
7th hour.
Olympics should go back to being naked, and then we can eliminate a lot of these unpleasant sports that we're forced to watch.
Yeah, but hold on, because here's the problem with that. I agree because I like naked competition. I mean, my people raided villages naked. Like I'm all good with naked in the old school. But the problem is now is all the people transgenders are allowed in sports, and the types of people that are having success and at least shouldn't in the category that they're in, or they wouldn't in the category that they should be in. Then we get into some real problems there, Tom. I mean,
It's a lot of confused.
Leah Thomas swimming naked in the female Olympics.
Yeah, it might increase viewership. You know,
You might. So Ginger brought up a thing: gymnasts dance around the mat with a ribbon and a pole, but don't do it. Don't do gymnastics. Just twirl ribbons. There is that part of it too. Yeah. At the same time, if you think about it, this could be, and they wouldn't do it, but this could be some of those gymnasts, male and female, could also compete and break, because they do a lot of those moves on the pommel horse and on the, like, they do a lot of that stuff. It's not going to be that. They're going to have these people who, like Tom is saying, on the streets of Japan that are popping and locking and really breaking it down. They're going to be, I can't believe I said those words. That just made me feel dirty.
If I hit the button, I would have ended the show right there. We just said it.
But like, it's, you know, you could see that possibly, you know, bridging that gap, but they're not going to do that. They're not going to allow them to do that, and they're not going to want to either.
Yeah.
So,
popping and locking.
So, have you seen the trampoline competition?
Yes, and I don't want to talk about that either. I want to move on. See, this is why my body and my soul said move on from the question of the day, because it's just infuriated me. I think it's ridiculous. As Ginger said, make it a competition show, not an Olympic event. Absolutely. And then please, no one watch that show. Let's help society get better. Like, we're not helping it heal. We're just making it worse. Like, this is really bad. Pour gas on that flame over there. To the movies we go. We don't normally talk movies.
No.
You know, we're mostly news, some, you know, decent amount of sports, but we're going to talk movies because there's a movie out right now, Bad Boys Ride or Die. Okay?
I haven't seen it yet. Have you?
No, we're going this week.
This week, yeah.
We're going this week. I'm excited to see it. Some of you are going to be like, you shouldn't support Hollywood and this, that, and the other. Like, I don't care. Like, I want to have some fun. There's certain movies I'm going to go see because I don't want to just live a miserable life, as much as I am frustrated with all the same things you're frustrated with. But you've got obviously Will Smith, Martin Lawrence, who's a hilarious duo in those films. They've done an outstanding job with those films. They're just action-packed entertainment.
Mike Lowry.
Mike Lowry. But it's crushing it. It's doing well this week. And you had Stephen A. Smith over on ESPN, who I'm not a big fan of. I think we all kind of agree here. He's gotten a couple things right as of late, but I think most of that's brand protection and trying to fix things. But he has said, Stephen A. Smith over on ESPN, that he won't go see the movie until Will Smith addresses the Chris Rock slap. Obviously a big deal, made Will Smith look like a total idiot at the awards show. But that happened years ago. Now this movie's back. Do you think this is fair, or is this petty? Sir Thomas?
I think it's petty because if you watch Chris Rock's special, he totally demolished Will Smith and just set Will Smith, you know, the incident, everything, Will Smith's character, his marriage, everything, set it on fire and left it in a pile of ashes, dropped the mic, and that was it. So, you know, it's tough for a lot of us to go see this movie because when we see Will Smith, we just think about him slapping Chris Rock.
Right.
And it's hard to get that visualization out of your head. But if you're going to wait for Will Smith to apologize to Chris Rock, you're going to be waiting a very long time because Chris Rock absolutely annihilated him during his special.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I think so too. I mean, look, at the end of the day, I mean, it comes down to you. It comes down to where you stand on things, where you're, you know, this is the line in the sand for me on X, Y, or Z issue. I just watched, we watched them with my son, my oldest kid, who's also my son, and who, you know, we watched the first three, and it's obviously been not just in the last several weeks, but over the last, throughout this year, we've watched the three knowing that this was coming out. And I honestly, it made me so mad when Will Smith did that. And I've got so many problems with Hollywood. But the movies are so damn entertaining and funny. And when we went and started watching these with him again, I didn't think about it once. I went right back into the show and the characters and everything that was there, enjoyed the hell out of them like I did the other umpteen times I've seen them. I just think it's dumb. Like, I think there's things that you should put your foot down and say, I'm not doing this for X, Y, and Z reason. But you can't do it for everything. And you have to find things that bring you joy and fun, even if that joy and fun and laughter is 2 fucking hours and involves some nerd ropes and thank God now they have booze at the theaters too, whatever. A Diet Coke, a Coke, a gin and tonic, whatever you're doing, you've got to have that break. And there's things where it's, to me, it's just okay. I think it's okay. I think it's petty that Stephen A. Smith is doing that. Because all he does, by the way, is stir up controversy. That's his brand. And now you're pissed at someone else who made a big mistake. I think Will Smith looks like a total jackass for what he did and was pissed at him. But this is coming from the same guy who, when Adrian Peterson was our running back and beat his kid, I'm like, yeah, but he's our guy, so, like, let him play. Like, it's fine if he's a Viking.
Well, my whole thing, we talked about this a few weeks ago. I showed you the clip. We can't show it because you will get dinged on YouTube about it. But if you guys go online and search Will Smith slapping Chris Rock, like, from a movie, and there's a movie from the 90s that if you were, there's a video that's out there, like you could probably see it on my screen here where they got what actually happened at the award show and from the movie.
You sent me this.
Yeah. And it's to the T, the exact words that they say, except the names are changed, and the same timing of when Will Smith walks up and slaps him. It's all to the T. It's from a movie. So my thing is, if this was truly an assault, and yes, I know Chris Rock went out and annihilated him and all that stuff, but if it was truly he actually hit him because he was mad, this wasn't like a doctored up thing, Will Smith would have been kicked out of Hollywood. He would have been blacklisted, all these things. But when you watch these two clips together and how this is from a movie from the 90s that's taking place like in the 50s, it's the exact same scene that happens there. And even to the get my wife's mouth out of your mouth, like everything. It's all there.
That clip. I don't know that he would have gotten kicked out of Hollywood because he had, but the clips are remarkably similar.
Yeah.
the bar for bad behavior in Hollywood is set so high that a slap is not going to get somebody blackballed from the Academy, even if they do it on the Oscars and it's televised. I mean, you just look at Roman Polanski. Roman Polanski is still able to had a life and a career, and he had sex with a 13-year-old at Jack Nicholson's house, and Robert De Niro is the one who set it up and still pays, who paid Roman Polanski's legal fees because he felt guilty about it. There's just so many different levels in Hollywood of behavior that is criminal and disgusting, but they end up getting away with it because at the end of the day, if you're making money, they're going to keep you around.
Yeah.
If you're not making money, like your P. Diddy's, your Harvey Weinsteins, they're done with you. And when they're done with you, that's it. They're going to take as much money away as they can,
right,
and they're going to try and incarcerate you. Or, if you're Russell Simmons, they'll let you, live out your years in Bali without having to face any repercussions for what you've done.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Chaos says it well, too, over in the chat. Hollywood should not be your moral compass. Enjoy them for their jobs. Same with athletes. 100%. If someone goes Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby, across a very clear and distinct line, that's one thing. But expecting these people to be, it's the same with politicians, too. If you're expecting them to be great people, then you're going to be let down and disappointed every time. But if you're just looking for entertainment, then get some entertainment and move on with your day. I think Stephen A. Smith is in the wrong here.
He's going to see it.
100% he's going to see it. He absolutely is going to see it.
Of course he's going to see it.
He's probably already seen it. He's probably seen it twice. I ain't seeing it.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. I'm not going to see it this week because I already saw it last week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I was at the premiere.
Yeah.
I got to work on my Stephen A. Smith imitation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we weren't going to say anything, but I
can't stand him because it's time, like when he gets intense, awesome. But then there's times when he's like, it's like the producer, you got to calm down. And then he's like, okay, everybody, we're going to be fine. And this is what we're going to, and it's like, so why are you talking like just either yell or just like, hang on, I need to take a breath so I can calm down from this. Like that tone that he does when he's just trying to keep on point. It's like, stop it.
No, he claims in his autobiography that he went down to Winston-Salem State while it went into practice while Winston-Salem State was having a scrimmage, got into the game, and nailed 17 three-pointers in a row.
Yeah. No, the dude's a hot mess. I've come around and I partake in a lot more ESPN than I did for a while. Again, just because I love sports so much, as you guys know, and they're kind of a big deal in sports. But there's some. It's like when you're having your internal struggle with Fox News, which I don't watch Fox News at all anymore. But when the struggle starts with Fox News, if you've had that or you're going through it now, it's like, well, I'll watch this guy or this gal, but I won't watch them. That's kind of Stephen A. And the problem with ESPN is, like any network, sports news, what have you, is they just use all the same people throughout the day. And you're like, all right, I'm skipping this show where he's a main character, it's his thing. And then you're watching whatever. You're watching Pat or you're watching something else. And joining us now is Stephen. You're like,
yep.
Son of a bitch. I was trying to get away from this joker. And you just can't because he's all up in their girdle, man. He's there. But
yeah, Dan Patrick referred to working, if you totally commit to ESPN, he calls it working at the car wash, where they will just put you in every show. And it's like you once you make that deal, you have to be mentally prepared that you're going to be on all these different shows saying the same thing that you said repeatedly again and again and again throughout the entire day. No,
you're 100% there, bitch. Well, Charles Barkley, his deal's coming up with TNT for Inside the NBA. And people are asking, like, are you going to, the next logical step is you would go there. He's like, man, I don't want to work that hard. Like, are you kidding me? Like, why? I don't want to, why would I ever go to ESPN? Like, I'll be going all day. By the way, last night he was getting interviewed by, I forget who, I think it was a Canadian hockey channel or something like that. But first of all, he seemed slightly blitzed. He's up in the booth, in a box, excuse me. At one point, he's at the desk at one of the intermissions, but he's getting interviewed in the booth. Totally just responding to this dude's question, drops an F-bomb, says, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I can't do that," and then tries to switch it. But anyway, Sir Charles, who gets a lot of things wrong too, and is obviously a big personality and character, he said the same thing. He's like, I'm not working there. Like that's absolutely crazy.
Well, I feel like this postseason for Charles Barkley as well. You see him talking NBA stuff, but then he's on, like he said, the intermission of the hockey stuff as well. They've had him come back, and he says he's a huge hockey fan. Loves hockey. Yeah. And so it's interesting to see those two worlds collide, because it's like, am I on the right intermission report? Like, why am I listening to Charles Barkley right now?
Yeah, that's the NBA finals.
Like, what's going on here?
Yeah. No, it is. It's a weird thing. I watched multiple clips today, but he's like super into it.
Oh, he said it was a guarantee that the Toronto Maple Leafs were going to make it to the Stanley Cup and win it. And every time when they lost, he came out and said, like, I'm sorry. But he goes, but my bet is that he had money in the line or something, because he'd come on and be like, I guarantee that they're going to win it. Like, okay. Well, they didn't.
I don't know. He was harsh on my Timberwolves in the Western Conference Finals, so I'm still a little upset with him. But he was right. That's what pisses me off. Let's move to something else that pisses me off, but it's not surprising whatsoever. So remember, I don't know, 3 years ago, coming up on 3 years ago, 2 years and 10 months, but who's counting?
You are, apparently.
When this administration just decided to totally waste all of our adult lives and withdraw from Afghanistan, and that whole thing happened. And it was a disaster, right? Biggest international blunder in history, in my view, and certainly the thing that's made me more angry than anything. And I've got a pretty good level of anger as it is, but this took it to the next level. Well, fast forward now. We know that we left billions upon billions of dollars of equipment, all of that stuff. We know that China was in there like that afterwards, picking up the scraps, making sure that they work deals with the freaking terrorists that are there, literally, for mineral rights and everything. But you have all that happening. And now, fast forward to this week, and the new al-Qaeda chief, okay, Saif al-Adil, has invited foreign fighters from across the lands to return to Afghanistan to train in a safe haven terrorist shithole.
That was his words?
He said it slightly differently than I did. But folks, first of all, if you're surprised by this, you're so dumb, like you're just not worth it. But I don't think any of you are, which is why I feel comfortable saying that to you guys. You're a smart audience. But if you're surprised by this, you're not very smart. But this is exactly why we went there in the first place, and this is exactly why we said the way that we did it, the way that we withdrew, the way that we handled everything was not only cost lives, wasted 20 years of effort, blood, sweat, and tears there, but you literally gave it back. I mean, as soon as we left, they made it a terrorist-run state, officially, the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan. And now you've got all these groups back in there, and you've got them saying, hey, we're back in business just like we were pre-9/11. Come train here. Let's go blow some shit up. That's literally, we're right back there. And again, shouldn't be surprising, but you've got training camps in I think all 34 provinces now, they're saying.
Yeah, hey man, we've got the gear. We just need the people.
Right.
It's unbelievable. You know, when the whole withdrawal was going on, it was people like us were sounding the alarm bells to everybody. This is bad. Don't do this. All they're going to do is regroup. And then, of course, you had Biden out there. Yeah, you know, it's time that they, you know, have their own country and, you know, nothing will happen. And it's time for us to leave because, you know, it's the 20th anniversary and I want to get out of there and I need it for my legacy and all that other garbage. But it was just so obvious. You have to be, you know, a dyed-in-the-wool communist not to grasp the concept of what was going to happen once we left.
Yeah. I mean, literally.
And I'm not saying we shouldn't have left. I don't even think we should have been there past, like, January of 2002, once we knew bin Laden was out of the country. So I'm definitely not a nation builder dude.
No, and I'm not either. I think that there can be a small presence either there or in the region that helps keep things under taps where we're not at the point where we are now, where it's worse than it was before we went there in the first place. But yeah, I mean, this was the most predictable thing ever, but it's so damn frustrating to see that because you knew. I mean, we said it when all that was happening. I believed it. I believe it now to this day even more because of stuff like this. But when we withdrew the way we did, it's like, well, we'll see you soon. We're coming back. Like, this isn't over because that's how our government works. And because based on how we set this thing up to fail, it's going to go that way because literally nothing good really does come from that country. I love Shafi and some of my guys, and I do love Saffron, and their food is actually really. There's some good things that come from there, but it's not for the world's sake. Nothing good does. It's violence. It's a country of war. That's what they know, and you see where it's going. You see where it went even before. I mean, honestly, before the withdrawal, the fact that this administration was caught off guard by all of this. When I had been told, being out of the agency for a while, how bad it was years prior to 2021, what was going on. But you just, like, I know how we operate. I know how we do this. I know our history specifically with Afghanistan. We're going back, bitches. Like, this is going to happen because something's going to elicit that kind of a response. And that's how we are. We're a knee-jerk country. But anyways, it's maddening to see this, but also completely predictable. Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Khorasan, all of these groups, come on, we're training. Like, we got people training for the Olympics here. You got to understand, there's motherfuckers in Afghanistan and Pakistan training to kill you, and all because of horrible, horrible foreign policy. And this is where we are as a country.
Yeah, when we go back, instead of like when we went back the first time, going in with, state-of-the-art kit and weaponry and everything, this next time we go back, we're going back with rainbow flags and dildos to fight off the Taliban.
Well, and all of a sudden now they've got nods, they've got freaking D-balls on their, I mean, they've got it all. I mean, there was the upper hand that America had before. Now it's an even playing field because they have all that tech now. They have the tech. I mean, we're so obviously trained and better, and our operators are the best on the planet, but it's not the same game. It's not the same game. And anyways, if that happens, the show will go on break because I'm going back because I love fighting in that country.
Yeah, by the way, you said, we have people here training for. There's only 613 Americans going to the Summer Olympics, so it's not like a huge number of people training to go to the Olympics.
There's more than that training in Asadabad in Konar province to kill you right now.
Yep.
Just to set the record straight there. My oldest daughter last night is I didn't know about the story yet. I wasn't paying attention to it. And this is just sidebar, but it ties into this. I'm working on some stuff. I'm frustrated because there's just a lot of things moving. We've acquired these different companies. There's just a ton going on. And Shafi's doing great, Barb, by the way. But there's a lot going on. And she's like, Daddy, do you like your job? I'm like, well, I mean, I do. There's better days than others. It's stressful. There's a lot of stuff, and I didn't get into it, but it's like working in conservative media is maybe the hardest thing I've ever done. It's just really tricky because everyone wants you to fail. And for the most part, you do because of it. She was like, but you like it better than your old job, right? I'm like, oh, hell no. I didn't say hell to her. I was like, oh no, like that was the best job. In her words, I have not told her this, but she was like, so you like shooting people better? I'm like, yes. But
does she know?
It was much better.
Does she know what you did, or
she and my son
okay.
know?
Gotcha.
This much. They know enough. The younger two have no clue. But she was like, you like that better? I'm like, oh my gosh, yes. But she was like, it's so dangerous and stressful. I'm like, no, Daddy's broken. I'm wired differently. This kind of stuff makes me want to hurt myself. That stuff is great. I don't really. I shouldn't even joke about that. But anyways, side point, tying into the Afghanistan stuff there. Yeah, we get to fight against our old weapons, says Ginger. It's ridiculous. Chaos, is there an update on Shafi? Have no idea how to spell his name. You're close. It's S-H-A-F-I. You did S-H-A-F-E-E. That's how you enunciate it. So close. But love him nonetheless. Thank you. So do we. He's doing good. He's working his butt off, trying to make things work here. We're about to hit the next step where we apply for his green card and get all that process done, and then hopefully once that happens, we can figure out trying to get some of his family over here. So, which will be great and also stressful.
A whole nother level.
A whole nother level of stuff that my wife and I and our attorney need to figure out, but worth it. So he's doing good. Long story short, his roommate just recently left him without notice. So he's a loser and hopefully dies in a barn fire. But other than that, he's doing well. We'll sort out. We'll get a new roommate, and he's plugging.
He recently had a surgery, right?
He had just like some laser vein surgery. So one of the times that the Taliban attacked him, they killed his kids and his wife in one, hurt him multiple other times. One time he was in a body cast up to here for 6 months. I mean, the dude's been through it all. And if I ever get time, I'll finish the damn book, which is about 30% done. But he did have surgery. He got injured in his one calf from an explosion. Basically, it's dead. The nerves and stuff there are dead. Had some joker here on a construction job that he did for 2 weeks. Just ram up. He was building docks, because we're in Florida, and he was helping this guy, who's an awesome guy. Is not the guy who rammed him, build docks, but they took a piece of rebar and rammed it right into his spot that's already affected. So it caused a huge issue. It couldn't heal because it's basically already dead there. So he's had some stuff there to, try and address that.
I just love seeing him. He always got a smile on his face. He's just the happiest person.
He's one of the best humans on the face of the earth, who you would never know has done the things that he's done. No,
because he's so just kind-hearted and soft-spoken, and just you think like, oh, he's just this happy-go-lucky guy, and then when you hear when I first met him, he told me all the stuff that he did. I was like, oh, well, I think I started crying in your kitchen, like when he was telling me stuff. I was just like, Shafi, like this is so intense.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot. All right, well,
Ginger said, "Oh, Daddy's broken."
Yeah, he's broken. Yeah. Oh, they know. They know. Like, our dad's different than the other ones in school. Yes. Yeah.
I just love being there when you do your little shouts of like when you just start saying something. When you're like, "You don't want breakfast?" And then I'll look around and everyone's just like
they're carrying on, doing a word puzzle or something. Like, no,
everything is fine here. Yeah. Nothing to see.
No, I can't surprise them. Can't surprise them. That's for sure. I'm either doing something really right or something really wrong. I don't know. We'll find out in the end. But we appreciate hanging out with you guys today. It's been fun as always. Thanks for being here. Please make sure, whichever platform you're on, that you're hitting that like button, continuing to engage in the chat like you do so often, especially over on Rumble. You guys are the best. Literally, you're the reason that the show happens. So keep doing that. Hit the like button. Share with your friends, family members, everyone that you know, even people you don't know. Just randomly share stuff with them. See what they do, and it'll lead to a conversation. But we'll look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern, tomorrow as well as Thursday. So have a great night. We'll look forward to seeing you then. Be safe, be smart, be free.
Mike Lindell here, and like you, I see our country being destroyed daily. We face massive economic issues, and I can tell you from firsthand experience, there are people in power who threaten the values that have made our country great. Well, I've been a believer in gold and silver for a long time, and I've searched for years for a partner that shares my values. Well, Genesis Gold Group showed me how easy it is to protect your IRA, 401k, or your retirement with gold and silver. Their faith-driven approach to service and stewardship is one that stands out from the rest.
To get your free definitive gold guide and get started learning more about investing in gold and protecting your retirement from uncertain times, visit treasureandtrust.com now. Fill out the basic contact form and a member of the team will be in touch. Again, that's treasureandtrust.com or call 855-625-7760.